This episode is in collaboration with Running Bloom. Running Bloom was created from a love of running and colour. Inspired by the founder's daughter Flora, the brand is all about encouraging people to get outside, enjoy the journey and discover what they're capable of, one step at a time. Whether you're chasing a PB or heading out for your very first mile, Running Bloom believes that every run counts. The brand will soon be launching a range of running caps, technical t-shirts, vests and running socks. You can find Running Bloom on Instagram @RunningBloom, where you'll find launch updates, exclusive discounts and giveaways. And remember to run free, bloom strong. Welcome to episode 144 of the Local Runners Podcast, the podcast by runners for runners. And we're your hosts. I'm Dave Norman.
I'm Katie Kay.
I'm Callum Parkinson.
Today we're going to speak to a member of Vale Royal Athletic Club, and he's got the honour of being the first member of the club to feature one of our guests. He's got PBs for the 5k of 13:52, 10k 29:17, the half marathon 65:28 and the marathon 2:13:41. So quite an impressive list of PBs there.
Yeah.
Please welcome Chris Perry. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Okay. First of all, can you tell us how you first got into running?
I did a lot of sport when I was younger, just the usual stuff. Did a bit of everything: football, running, badminton, table tennis, anything I could do really. I was decent at fast spread. I used to do well at sports day. My parents took me on to the indoor sports hall sort of athletics. That would have been over at Frodsham, where I grew up. So that was like with George Bunner. People who've been in the scene a long time will know of George. So he coached like Paula Radcliffe when she was like a tiny little kid, and he created like the sports hall athletics sort of project really. So I did that probably 9-10 years old, and then probably when I was about 13, I did like an inter-area Cheshire sort of athletics-y thing, and then like the guys from Vale Royal were there, so they sort of invited people along. If you didn't have a club or you weren't taking it very seriously, that was the sort of club to go to. So I joined them. Not really taking running particularly seriously, as you probably don't when you're 13, 14. Made a lot of friends, so I used to go down more socially, like Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, Sundays, and then just I don't know what it is, 20 something years later, I'm still hanging around, still going strong. It's that really, just the junior athletic sort of thing. So I did all the usual stuff like cross country and track as a kid. Obviously the indoor sports very, very young, but yeah.
And what age were you when you joined Vale Royal?
13-ish, 13, 14, some like year 9-ish sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it was a relatively new club then. Like I went down, there's probably only a very small handful of like actual senior runners then. It was very much like a junior club.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of kids my age and just.
I think somebody told me it was an amalgamation of two clubs. Is that right?
Mm.
Which two clubs was that, or am I putting you on the spot there?
You are. It's some club in Northwich and some club in Winsford. I don't know what they were called. Or
okay.
Yeah.
So that might answer the question that some listeners have: is where is Vale Royal? Because a lot of our listeners will have seen the vests at races. They're a prominent club with the yellow and blue quarters, and they're quite prominent in the Manchester Cross Country League as well. But
that's right.
What sort of Winsford area? Is that where the track is?
Yeah. So it used to be when I first joined, it was more like Northwich. So I think the area was sort of split between the two, and we used to train more Hertford, Northwich sort of area, and then that track just went into disrepair. It was at a high school, so it just like got overgrown and everything. Actually, we were talking before this about the beer mile. There used to be a few chunder miles around that track back in the day, on a very unofficial sort of event. But that just went into disrepair, and then it properly moved over to Winsford, which before that was more like football. There's like football pitches around there, but the track got sort of fenced off, and they looked after that a bit more. We've been training there 2-3 times a week for years now.
Yeah. And you mentioned you started there as a junior, so Vale Royal are renowned for having a really strong junior section. I've seen them win multiple medals nationally. Mm-hmm. So can you just talk us through what it was like coming through the junior system at Vale Royal? I know you mentioned in your little bit of information you sent over to us about a couple of coaches there, Andy and Shaun.
Yeah. So Andy Carter, he's like an Olympian. Back in the day, I think you probably know better than I do. 82 Olympics, I want to say.
Yeah.
Was it in the Olympics? 82, whenever it was. He was like a really like incredible 800 runner, and up until very recently, he had I think it was the world record for father and son fastest ever mile times with his son Tom. So he's obviously quite a big character and big inspiration at the club. And Shaun, He's much more of an amateur background, but he's sort of like the icon of the club. Everyone knows and loves Shaun. Both been around for years. The club was quite different what it is now to what it was when I joined. Like I said, it was quite new. Andy was sort of going down there initially just helping out because his kids were there who were all really, really good as well. And then he became a proper coach. But there was, like I said, there was barely any seniors. So it wasn't like you had all these kids looking up to all these amazing seniors. It was just a social thing, really. Yeah. We had a really good group of kids our age, just all turning up, and you stay there long enough and you're going to get better. And it's a lot different now. It's a lot more structured, and there's a lot more through the age groups. Like I said, it was predominantly just juniors and kids who were all good, but it's more.
I mentioned about Vale Royal having a very good track record in the junior section. So it's obviously strong now. Was it strong when you joined straight away, or did it take time to build?
Yeah, it took a while. Like I said, it was decent enough, but there was never kids from my club like meddling at English schools or running for England or anything like that. Really, when I first started, whereas now that's a lot more regular. It was decent enough for Cheshire's quite a small county, like in the grand scheme of things, and we always used to sort of punch above our weight. And Vale Roy was us and Warrington really would sort of make up all the teams as juniors. So we had good teams without being amazing. Whereas now, probably every year we've got kids running for England and Great Britain and stuff. So it definitely has got better. But like I said, not much has changed. It's just, I suppose, you've been there years and years, and then those kids get a bit older. Then they're sort of the ones the new kids look up to, and it just builds and builds. Yeah. We've got a much better senior sort of setup now. But yeah, it was a great club to be part of. I probably should have prepared some stats, because I know Stu Doyle listens to this, and he's a big coach at our club, and he always goes on about, we were this size club, but we won this many medals at national. So I should have probably come prepared with some stats. But,
when we post it,
he knows all the stats. But we do really well for a club of like very small sort of catchment area. Yeah. And not that many members in the grand scheme of things. We do pretty well, when it comes to relays and England representatives and stuff.
And anything in particular you'd say Andy and Shaun taught you about the sport in those early years?
Like I said, Shaun was more sort of like, he's not the coaching mastermind. Yeah. I'm sure he won't listen to this, but I'm sure he won't mind me saying that. He's very much just like sort of that embodiment of like the spirit of the club. Like he's always there, rain or shine. He's probably, I don't know how old he is now, 80 odd, but he's always there. He gets on with everyone. He's the nicest guy you'll ever meet. So I think he's sort of like, from that side of things, it's probably just the enjoyment factor. The young kids don't go down there because they want to be in the Olympics. Most young kids just want to go and have fun with the mates, and he really like sort of harvests that atmosphere. Andy was more sort of like Andy's still a really nice guy, don't get me wrong, not like he was the good cop, bad cop sort of thing, the disciplinarian, but he's very much like the coach who'd teach you more, like before the sessions he'd explain to you why you're doing a certain session, this, that and the other. So and he's still, even now, he's again probably 70ish, he's still there 2-3 times a week coaching all the kids and everything. Bit of everything, yeah. There's obviously the technical side of things, but also just like the mental side of just enjoying it. And you're only going to be good at running if you do it for a prolonged period of time, and kids aren't going to do it for a prolonged period of time if they're hating it and being forced to do stuff and ground out around the track 3 times a week. It's just we've seen that plenty of times over the years, and those people just don't hang around. No. So yeah, good combo.
Yeah, okay. So let's just talk about your junior career. So you had some success as a junior, represented Cheshire a number of times at the English schools and the inter-counties over cross-country. But you never actually qualified for the track version of these events, despite considering yourself to be a much better athlete on the track. So why do you think that was? And what do you think made the difference for you to start performing to your ability on the track a bit later on?
Because like now when I look back at sort of, I don't do track so much anymore, but when I properly got into running and did it properly, I was definitely better at the track. Like I think my last cross country actually was one I remember specifically you and Stu beat me over. It was that one where it was snowing. I think you got frostbite and your foot nearly fell off. I think that was my last cross country race, and I always like massively underperformed. Even when I was into it and I was training really well, I could just never run well at the cross country. But when I was a kid, I would do for some reason better at that. I think I never really sort of like pushed myself that hard. I think I just would turn up and do the sessions. And I suppose that sort of just general aerobic base sort of helped me as a kid. Plus, I was like I said, I did it when I was before I did any structured training. I was quite quick and I was quite good endurance wise anyway. So I think just the background, the team size obviously also helps. You got 8 kids at each age going to the English schools and the inter-counties, whereas on the track, no matter how many you'd have of a certain standard, you had to hit these times. I would just never get anywhere near them, particularly over like the 1500 distance and like the 3K. I think when I was in sixth form, it would be like 3:56 to qualify for English schools, or 8:35ish. I was like miles off that, like not even getting close. So I think I probably just had it when I got to the track season. I just did track for a bit of fun because I knew I wouldn't be able to actually get further than doing your Traffords and doing your open races. So probably just didn't take that as seriously. But yeah, then as I got older, just became better at the track, and cross country got harder and the distances got longer, and I was just like 1500 and 3K sounds more appropriate. But yeah, my training obviously changed as I got older, but yeah, I did prefer the shorter distances up until more recently. Yeah,
and we've spoke to some of our previous guests about some of the top universities for athletes in the UK. Loughborough and Birmingham have been mentioned many times, and you've actually been to both. So you first went to Loughborough, which at the time was the university to go through for an aspiring athlete.
Always will be, Dave. Not just then. Always will be.
And you had some coaching input from the legendary George Gandia, where I remember Ian Grime spoke very fondly of when he came on. So what was the setup like under George, and why do you think you were just going through the motions in your first couple of years at Loughborough?
So I didn't go to Loughborough specifically just for running. Like I said, when I was like 17, 18, I used to go running, but I wasn't like I didn't take it seriously, certainly as I do now. So I sort of picked a uni that I thought was like, I knew it was good for running, but I was not into running at all. Like, I couldn't have told you any famous runners. I couldn't tell you world record odds. I didn't know anything about running. Yeah. This is at borderline when like GPS watches were coming out and technology started getting used. So I remember, like, I went to Loughborough. They have like a little introduction as a kid who it turns out to be Pete Matthews, who I became really good friends with. He was sat there in a Norway t-shirt, and he literally lives in Blackburn. So I probably raced him like 5 times a year. I saw him in Norway t-shirt. I'm sat there thinking, oh my God, there's all these international athletes here. I'm completely out of my depth. Little did I know, like I said, he was up the road, and I probably actually knew him. So I just didn't get involved in it. Like I think I was a bit daunted by, I've gone from this little club and everyone's friendly to this massive uni where everyone's an Olympic athlete. Obviously they weren't, but that's what I thought. And I went to uni to do my degree, to have a social life, and also there's a good running club. It was really good for my degree as well. So I did business, and it was one of the sort of like top 5 or 6 business schools. So it was more, it fit for everything rather than just I was going there to be the best runner ever, which obviously I know a lot of people do pick universities kind of solely on that. So I went in, and the first couple of years I just was like, I was going out all the time, just
student life.
Literally, and I knew, like I said, I knew nothing about. I had no idea what training should be like. I'd turn up on a Tuesday, turn up on a Saturday morning, turn up on a Sunday morning if I could get out of bed, and that was it. Like, I just did what I was told. I had absolutely no idea why I was doing certain things, even like stupid things. I remember I used to train a lot with like Stevie Stockton's from my club. She went to Loughborough. She was friends with like Heather Timmins and Jess Coulson. They've all changed their names now, so can't remember what they're all called. So I used to do a lot of running with them, and they always used to talk like they were all at GB internationals. And they would talk about double daying and what have you done today? So I remember going away and thinking like, God, these people are running twice a day. I was running like 3 or 4 times a week. So I remember there was a Thursday, we used to do a tempo on a Thursday night. I remember thinking, I got out of bed at like 1 in the afternoon, having gone out the night before. So thinking, right, today's the day I'm going to start training properly. So I need to do a double day, whatever that is. So I remember, like, I didn't have a watch, nothing. I just like used to look at the time on my microwave. It's like, right, it's 1:30.
Oh my God.
So I'd go out for about, I know that route, so I'll go and do that. So I remember going out for a run, came back 70 minutes later, and I was knackered. Like, I didn't go for, there was no like recovery run, wasn't a thing. So I'd just go for a run, hilly route, flat out, more or less. And then I get back after lunch, right, training again in like 3 hours. And we're supposed to do this tempo. My little legs had never run twice in a day. And I was absolutely knackered. And they're like, what's wrong with you? So I said, I went for an hour and 10-minute run about 2 hours ago. Like, what are you doing? Like, I was like complete novice. So that probably wasn't even in was it first year or second? Late on in my first year or second year. So I'd been there for a while at that point. I just had no clue. So I just wasn't taking it seriously. I didn't know what I was doing. Like I said, no GPS watches. I didn't know. When people talk about going 7-minute miling, that meant nothing to me. Like I just
So you weren't getting any coaching input from either your club or from George at that point?
No. Once I left the club to go to uni, obviously I'd go back and I'd do Sunday run with the club and everything. But yeah, I'd turn up on a Tuesday night. Yeah. I'd speak to George because he knew me, but he wasn't like setting me anything specific. No. It was if I was injured, I just wouldn't go to training.
Did you get involved in your running at any point in the university, or did you have to kind of teach yourself the right things to do?
Yeah, I mean he'd coach everyone, so it wasn't like he'd have his own group, so they had like separate little sessions and weights and all this sort of thing, and he'd coach. He'd give speeches and do general training. Like, over the course of the next 2 months we're going to be doing this because of this. So he taught you like the basics without him speaking to me directly. And you'd turn up on a Tuesday and he'd say, how are you feeling tonight, or how are you fast, I noticed you're doing better than last week. So he would have a little bit of input, but he wasn't my coach. He just coached the group. And then as I sort of went on, I went to Birmingham for my third year, where I did like a year in industry. And then sort of when I came back in my fourth year, I was a bit better. I was trying to take it a bit more seriously, and then he had a bit more sort of input on me, and then I started representing the uni more, and then he knew who I was. I was getting he'd help me with physio if I was injured. So then he became more, again, still not my coach, because he coached a lot of people who were significantly better than me, wouldn't have time really to coach me, but he definitely had more of an input. And even not having coached me specifically, his sort of like input on my athletics journey is probably more almost like second to none, really, just because of like who he was, who he coached, what his coaching sort of taught me to then sort of take on when I left and everything. But yeah, he was a brilliant character.
And for context, you say you stepped things up when you went into that final year at Loughborough. But for context, what sort of how much did your times come down over various distances?
So probably my second year, when I finished in my second year, I was probably running, predominantly 1500 and 3K at that point. Probably running, I want to say maybe 850 for 3K leaving my second year, and then maybe like 4.3, 4.4 for 1500. So I was okay, an okay club runner for that sort of like being focused on those sorts of distances. And then my third year I went away to Birmingham, and I didn't run particularly well. Like, my track times didn't come down much then, but more like I met a lot of the lads who I used to go training with the group. So like I knew them from like the Cheshire scene. There's a couple of the lads who I still know now, like Matt Jackson, Cliffy. Their sort of household introduced me to the club. I used to go training with them all the time, going out on the club runs, and I used to see how much they train. There'd be 25 kids my year who were all like training more than me, and they were better than me. And I was like, God, if I want to be as good as them, I need to actually do some training. So that I was working a lot. Like I said, it was a year in industry, so I was working a lot. But when I could have trained with them. And that really showed me, like, God, these guys, this is what other people are doing. Like, these are taking it seriously. So it gave me a bit of a kick at the backside to sort of get into it. And then there was Bucks was hosted at the Olympic Stadium in my last year. So it was like, that was 2012. And obviously the Olympics was on in 2012. So they did that as the test event. So I knew all next year, if I could get into the team somehow, I'd be able to run at the Olympic Stadium. And obviously, like I said, running 4.0 whatever and 8.50. I wasn't going to get in over 5k or 1500, so I made a rogue move over to the Steeple Chase. But yeah, that year in Birmingham was really good. Different coaches, but obviously Bud Baldaro and I forget his name now.
Or was it
he was still running. What's his name now? Oh, that's awful, forgetting his name. He was actually more like my coach when I was there. But there was a few really like. Again, Bud was, he's friendly, similar to George in a way, isn't he? Different character, but similar in that he'll let anyone get stuck in, he'll talk to anyone, you could chew anyone's ear off about running for hours on end. So, yeah, it really helped, despite the fact that, again, I wasn't there to focus on running. I was working 60 hours a week or something, running when I could. But it was really good, yeah.
Yeah, and so far we've only really spoken about those short distances on the track, but obviously in your intro we spoke about those times, 5k, 10k, half marathon. So we'll come on to that when we move on to Callum and Katie's questions. But for many years I knew you was a very good steeplechaser. And you did just touch on it just a moment ago, that you fell into the event by accident, only taking it up because it was your only realistic way of qualifying for the British Universities Champs at the Olympic Stadium. So can you tell us what it was like to learn the Steeple Chase barriers? And did racing in the Olympic Stadium make you sort of continue with the event?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was literally like do that. Maybe could have done the 10k, but like when I was like 20, it's different now. 10k, everyone does 10k now. It's like it's the done thing. Back then, I was like, I am not running 25 laps on a track. Absolutely no chance. So I thought, right, I'm going to do this. I thought it looked quite fun. I'm not very big, so I thought, am I tall enough to even get over the barriers? And it is quite daunting because they are, they're rock solid. If you hit them, you are going down.
Yeah.
I tried it probably only a handful of times. I had got a bit better, like I said, in that third year. I had got a little bit better just in general at running, so I wasn't sure how good I could get or what sort of standard I'd need to get to qualify for the team. So I'll give it a go in I think March, April. I would have gone possibly with you to Portugal on a warm weather training camp.
I remember it well, yeah.
Training camp.
There was a lot of training.
There was a lot of training, a lot of drinking. Or socialising, as we'll call it. I think I did it a bit over like sort of hurdles, like the normal 400 metre hurdles, put to the right height. I mean, I didn't do any sort of proper technique training really. We did hurdle drills as part of like uni just for like hip strength, but I got familiar with how high they are and stuff. And then I remember it was like end of March, doing some like open race. It was like Loughborough versus the RAF versus the Army or one of these little meets. And I thought, I'll give it a go there. It's 2k or something. And it was all right. Like I knew that was the easiest route in, and I think I had to run like whatever time. And I did it. Still had to run the trial. So I had a couple of races before Bucks. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't particularly good at it then, but I was good enough, and I was comparatively better than the other distances. But it was a bit daunting, like even over a few hurdles, till you get out there and there's 7 people round you, and you're running blind into a rock solid wooden barrier.
They're really deep as well, isn't it? Because we did a track event on Sunday in East Cheshire, and we were looking at it, and you don't realise how deep it is.
If you don't get some momentum and you land like deep in the air, knee deep, literally, it's
so far. Yeah, we were looking at it and like, wow, it's really far down.
Yeah,
there's some good videos of fails, isn't there?
Yeah,
when you go
I watched
flipping
loads
over.
of them. Watched loads of them, I got sent loads of them before I made my proper debut. I mean, honestly, it was like even the normal ones, and then because you do 550 metres or 500-ish metres before you get to the first water jump. So even on my debut, like I practiced it a couple of times. Nothing can prepare you for it's easy or easier when you're running at it. You've got complete sight of it, and you can time your jump and like step on it and go over. But yeah, like I said, when there's people around you everywhere, and you're having to jostle, and then someone cuts you up. It is a different sort of kettle of fish. And I remember doing the first sort of lap, thinking, okay, right, the nerves have gone, I've got into it, and then you think, oh god, I still haven't done a water jump yet, I've got 7 of these to do.
God.
And it is very daunting. And then the flashbacks of all the videos of people hitting it, flying over forwards, flips, breaking the neck.
Oh god.
But I don't think I've ever had a major sort of fall. I think I've past the point where I'm going to have them now. I think my Steeple Chase days are done. So I don't think I ever had an actual fail. So
do you still do it now?
No, I haven't gone over a barrier for few years, probably 3 years.
You did get quite good at it though, because
right,
if I think about where you were finishing in the British Champs and where you were ranked nationally, you were definitely in the, did you say top 5, 6?
Yeah, I think I won the English Champs once or twice. British Champs, I came 4th, 5th a couple of times. I think the good thing was, that year I did okay, like I made it to the Bucks final just about, but I realised, I can make the Bucks final, I can make our team. If I train a bit harder, I'd obviously do a bit better. And then the next year I did relatively well, and then I think the good thing about that was like you could be competitive. Like even if I got a lot better at the 1500, I wasn't ever going to win anything or get a medal at my sort of age group. I think the appeal for me was like, I quite enjoyed it. It's quite a fun event, like if you don't completely mess it up and you can break your neck on the water jump or something. It's just quite a weird like niche event that I quite enjoyed, and you're racing the same guys. It's like the same people going around the circuit, so you get quite a good little camaraderie between you all. And I knew that like, if I get to this standard, then like you said, I could get to the British Championships. Again, I couldn't do that over another distance. And then when you get to like, I could get a Bucks medal, or I could get an under 23 medal at like the British and England sort of level. So I think that honestly, I don't know why more people, like younger people, don't do it. Like, it's probably a bit daunting,
Yeah.
and people probably think it's a bit of a cop-out, which is what I thought, which is why I got him into it in the first place. But, like, it's just such a fun event, and it doesn't take masses of technique. You know, like, I'm 5'9", and I didn't really do much practice, but I still could get over them fairly efficiently. I do think more people probably should
Yeah,
do
it's
it.
not a very popular thing, is it?
No,
Like, even
like,
though
yeah.
we've got the thing at East Chester, you don't see anyone doing it.
I don't know why. I think I suppose as well finding a coach who can get a kid to safely get over the barriers. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. And then
Just on that, did you teach yourself to?
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
Yeah, you don't have a specific barrier coach, no.
Have you ever done it, Dave?
No, absolutely not. I don't
You
have
must
the
have done
I
it.
don't have the coordination to go over a seat.
No, I don't think you do. You must have done it at a British League or a... No?
Have you never done it?
Never.
You know?
Oh,
Never. Wouldn't even do it for the point.
it's not worth it.
So for the steeple chase, so you mentioned then you have to do it 7 times. Is it only one barrier?
Might be 6 times.
All right.
Hang on, the water jump you do 6 times, I think.
Right. So
Yeah,
how
because
many,
you don't do it. Yeah.
so how many jumps is there per lap?
1, 2, 3, 5. But then you don't do any on the first 200, so you do 35. No, so it's 7. Yeah, it's 7. 7 water jumps, 5 per lap. Yeah, 1 water jump, 4 normal ones.
Oh my god.
What's really weird about the
That's a
steeple
lot,
chase
isn't
is
it?
sometimes the water jump is on the inside of the track, and I've
Yeah.
actually seen it where it's on the outside of the track as well.
So you can't it's hard to pace yourself, because the first 200 doesn't have a barrier, so you always run that faster. People always go off harder because it's proper fatiguing, you know, like you're not running as fast as you normally would, but the barriers really take out of you, so people always go off too fast, slow down, really struggle with the barriers. But yeah, like Dave said, sometimes on the inside, so you think, right, if I'm running a 400 at 80 pace, actually not running 400, so it's more like 78. But then sometimes it's on the outside of a track, and then you start at a completely different part of the track.
Right.
So you start at the finish line basically, so then it's like, well, I'm actually going to be running 84s. So your pacing just goes out the window, and it's just a case of who can grit it out. I quite like that as well. Like, it was just racing until I got a bit older, and it was like you start chasing times. It was just like, can you qualify for the final? If you get to the final, who's going to stay on 2 feet and get to the finish line first? Which is quite, it's it's like what running is, isn't it really, or what it used to be?
Yeah.
So yeah, I just loved it. But it was just coached myself, made it up.
Just one last question from me, Chris, before I hand over to Casey and Callum. So, got some notes here saying that when you left university, you fell into the post-uni trap of working and just going through the motions again, and doing a bit too much socialising, in your own words, with the wrong crowd. I hope
I was going to say,
Dave,
you're somewhat to blame in that.
You're not including me in that, I hope.
Yeah, very much. The amount of nights I spent on your sofa after a heavy night did not do my running career any favours at all.
I feel like some more questions here.
So how close were you to walking away from competitive running altogether before you decided to take a backpacking year out at age 26?
I don't know if I ever thought about just packing it in completely. I think I'd always had it in my, like, I never seriously thought I wasn't taking it still that seriously then, even though I got a bit better. I never saw myself again getting, like, I never thought I was going to be an Olympic athlete, so I wasn't taking it so seriously that it was all or nothing. So I never really thought like I'm going to just completely quit. I just thought it would just be something I did. Like, I'd go for runs with my mates, I'd turn up to train when I fancied it. I got to that stage where I was turning up, but I was just, like I said, you go out on Friday or Saturday night, drink too much, you're absolutely knackered the next day. You go and do your run, but you'd be doing it on a hangover, like with 3 hours sleep, and it's not good for you. And then Monday morning you go to work and you can't keep your eyes open, and then you're knackered on the Monday, you're knackered on the Tuesday. By the time you just about recover from the tiredness by the Friday, Saturday, you're going to do it again. So I don't think I ever got to the point where I thought, I can't be bothered with this. I quite like the fact that you'd go out, you'd clear your head, after a day at work, you'd have something else to do rather than just go home and sit on the sofa. So I don't think I ever would have completely stopped. I think that's why running's quite good, because you can sort of do it as much or as little as you like, and you still get certain things from it. But yeah, like, I wasn't going anywhere. I was running the same sort of times every year. I was training still quite a lot at that stage. This before I sort of went away. Yeah, I was like very much just going through the motions, turning up with a hangover, doing it, and that was about it. And yeah, obviously I just didn't get any better really. Like at uni, I was going out still a little bit, but you don't really have that. You go to a few lectures, when you sometimes, but you've got more time to sleep in and do nothing.
Yeah.
So like it was easier to recover then, and then obviously real life takes over, and I just did it because I've always done it. But I enjoyed looking forward to the weekend, going out, doing a few races. I still did all the races and everything, but like my PBs just flatlined. I was just running the same sort of times all the time, and I was happy enough with that at the time. Like I said, never had an ambition.
You were still in your Steeple Chase period there.
Yeah, exactly. And I was still sort of relatively competitive there. I'd never broken 9 at that stage, which is sort of like the domestic sort of like thing, isn't it? It's like breaking 15 or whatever for the 5k. It's like if you could break 9, you were like, oh, I can tick that one off. So I never got to that stage. And then I was just sort of like worked for like fine, like job was fine. And my mate just said to me, oh, why don't you just, because I was like, I fancy doing a different job. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I didn't have to get up and go to sort of like go and look for a new job. My mate was just like, why don't you just leave, go travelling, and then you have to get a job. You have to find something else to do when you get back. Yeah. And I had absolutely no real interest in travelling. I'd never really been anywhere. I just thought, yeah, why not? Go on. I'll go. A lot of my friends were off at uni in America at that point, so I thought I can go and stay with them for a bit, see places I'd never seen. Like I knew a couple of people who lived in Australia, and then I thought, right, well, I want to go. Where else am I vaguely interested in? I thought Kenya and that part of the world, and South Africa, because it's running, obviously Kenya. Yeah. I thought go there. And then honestly after that I just sort of made it up as I went along. So I went away for about 10-11 months, funded by selling my car to you.
Yeah, that's that? Right. Yeah, bought your BMW off.
Bought my car off me. That helped fund months of travel. Is
that the one series?
Yeah.
Do you still
bought it off Chris? No, not anymore.
Last time I saw it, you let it go mouldy. Left the seats all damp. I thought, my baby.
Not mine anymore.
I think, right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I hope it's been looked after a bit better. But no, and I ended up absolutely loving it. I went to some really cool places, places that I remember really nicely now. Sort of from a running perspective and from a complete not running perspective as well. Did a bit of running while I was there, again, depending on where I was. And that sort of like, when I came back, it sort of experiences I'd had, and like you sort of just get to a point where you're just like, am I going to do this a bit more seriously, or am I just not going to, like I said, never pack it in, but just not do it as competitively, and sort of just took it a bit more seriously there. That's what probably I was 26ish.
Cool. Right, well, Callum's got quite a few questions about your backpacking experience, so I'll hand over to Callum now.
Cheers, Dave.
Keep it PG.
I feel like Dave's got some more stories.
Yeah, I'm going to end my questions.
Handed over quite quickly.
That's on the after hours podcast.
And the fact that you just said keep it PG shows that there are some. So while you were backpacking, you mentioned that you went to the US, you went to Australia, and you trained a few times with the Melbourne Track Club.
Yeah.
So what was it like watching that world-class group train, and how did that trip kind of reignite the fire to knuckle down? Yeah, well, that definitely was one of the things. So that was probably... So how it sort of panned out, that I went travelling kind of with my friend. He did certain bits, didn't do other bits. The first sort of couple of months I went to America, which was saying my friends at the college, sort of doing the college scene running wise. So I saw a lot of that. Went off it, having done I think I had a couple of weeks off, went to stay with them, I was again going out with them, but doing a bit of running because they were doing it. Went to Kenya, obviously training there because there was literally nothing else to do in a 10. So training a bit more there. Went to South Africa, did quite a lot of training there. And that was like, I actually went to Potchefstroom, so it's like where Caster Semenya used to train there. Nigel Amos used to train there. So like you see these other like international athletes who go and do their warm weather altitude training there. That was very much like the running side of things. Then I had probably 3 months of proper backpacking in Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, that sort of thing. Very little running was done there. And then it was Australia after that. So I went to Australia, hadn't run literally for like at all for 5, 6, 7 weeks. But I knew that if I wanted to go there, I knew that those guys would be there, and I thought that'd be really cool to sort of mix it with them, because that was again the time where sort of social media and running, like the influence thing, that just did not exist. Yeah. They were the first real, I don't know if you remember this, like that Sweat Elite, they had that blog thing, and they were the only ones sharing their training. They're like, I found it so interesting. So I thought, right, if I'm going to Australia, I'll go to some places. Obviously I was going to all over Australia, but I was making sure that I want to go and see what they sort of do and go to some of the places that I knew they were training.
and they did, and obviously they're based in Melbourne, they did a lot of training at Falls Creek, which is like the altitude ski resort. So me and my friend went to, I think, Sydney, just did a few runs. On the way to Melbourne, we stopped at Falls Creek for about 5-6 days, and they were there at the same time. That was no coincidence. Like, I went there because I thought it's on the way. I knew that they would be there. They spend ages there. So I went and just sort of turned up, like I say, because I hadn't run for 5, 6, 7 weeks before going to Australia, probably 3 weeks earlier. I was not very fit at all, and it went straight to altitude, having never been before. It's like, right then, where are they? And I knew that they trained here, so I sort of messaged someone and just sort of said, I gather this is where you train on like Saturday mornings. Am I right just to come down? And got a rude awakening, getting dropped by absolutely everyone, which was to be expected. Obviously, they were a lot better than me, but it was amazing just running with those sorts of people. And again, they had that very much professional. It was like I think at the time it was a Nike team, and they had a coach. He was literally there, clipboard, stopwatch in hand, timing everything, making sure they did everything right. And I just found it really interesting that I could and they were really open. Like, there was other people who just turned up, like the drummer Nick Earl, from Norwich. So he moved over to Australia. He was there, and he used to go. They knew that over the New Year period, they would go for 4 weeks and just do altitude training, and anyone from Australia could just turn up and train with them, which I thought was really cool. So you'd see all these other randomers there, but yeah, there was people from 800 up to sort of marathon, all training together. And yeah, there was things again taken from all these different places I'd been, that I'd seen them doing that sort of training, I'd seen these doing that sort of training, and that sort of inspired me. When you see these guys, they're just normal people. You sort of see them on TV and you're like, oh, these guys running 26 minutes for a 10k, and you just think, aliens. But you see them doing real work, and they're knackered at the end of a session, and some of them, one or two of them will have a bad day, and you think, God, they are just normal people. So yeah, that just sort of made me think, gives you that bit of motivation and inspiration. Same, like I said, same South Africa, Kenya. Very much sort of finished that and was like, yeah, running's it's not cool at all. I thought, running's good. Running's cool. I'm gonna do it more. No, I loved it. Yeah.
So when you returned, you mentioned in the bio that you sent to us that you started to coach yourself.
Yeah.
Is that coaching yourself, or did you actually start coaching other people?
No, just literally myself.
Just yourself.
Yeah, like I said, because I'd sort of seen different people doing different things. I'd sort of had formulated my own sort of ideas. Not like nothing rocket science or anything. But obviously our club, like I said, going back to what we said at the very start, it was more junior based, so a lot of the training was 1500, 800 orientated. And then having gone to America, and all the colleges are training for 5k, 10k, I sort of seen them doing all this different training. It wasn't, again, like I said, it wasn't revolutionary stuff, but it was just I thought, oh yeah, why am I doing this? If I'm training for the same events as them, maybe I should be doing sort of more similar stuff to this. And also the way they structured the week, and I just thought, that'll suit me better. So I'd still, even to this day, I still go down to Vale Royal every week, and I'll always sort of tie in what they're doing with what I want to do. I'll always just do that on the Tuesday and whatever else the other part of the week. But yeah, I just sort of started thinking, right, well, I'll do that, but actually I've seen them do this, and I've seen them do this, and that works for them. So I just started, I used to watch a lot of videos, YouTube videos and stuff online about different training groups, and I just started, not making it up, obviously I was basing it on things I'd seen, but it essentially was making it up to a degree. But yeah, it seemed to work really well, and that is when I did start making bigger improvements, and started going up the distances a little bit. But even the 1500, I ran PBs shortly after coming back. 3k Steeple Chase, 3k flat, 5k, massive breakthroughs. Again, not like I said, not that I was doing anything revolutionary, but I'd taken it a bit more seriously, stopped going out as much, and just tweaking a few things training wise, and it seemed to sort of pay off. Do
you still self-coach then?
Again, just make it up as I go along.
Seems to work.
Do you find, so we've spoken quite a lot recently about having coaches, and I had a coach for Manchester Marathon, and that changed my perspective a little bit. George Lewis, that was on the last episode, he says that it takes quite a lot of the pressure off him for doing things. Would you ever look at being coached to maybe learn that a little bit more and then take yourself away from?
Possibly. I've thought about it quite a lot of times. The only thing I think I'd struggle with, like I said, because I've done a lot of the more I got into it, the more I researched and watched things and tried to learn things. I think I'd just struggle where if I was coming up to a race and someone told me to do something and it's just not something I'd done before, I wasn't like I wouldn't be 100% on board with.
Yeah.
I think I just struggle with like why am I doing that? Not that I think I know better, but I just what I've done seems to have worked for me. Obviously, I'm sure some coach in the world could have made me significantly better than I am now.
Yeah.
But it just seems to like every year I do still get improvements. So something is obviously going well. And I think I just really struggle if I sort of put my training in someone else's hands and then they were telling me to do things that I didn't necessarily agree with. I think I'd struggle with that. But then there's loads of coaches who would, it's not like a coach goes, this, school teacher, this is what you're doing.
Yeah.
A lot of coaches will have that back and forth with people, especially if people are interested and want to have the input on their own training. But I've thought about
loads. If you're confident in yourself, I think it's like Shaun.
I was just going to mention, Shaun who's not here tonight, he's been through the same thing. So he had Dan Nash coaching him. Shaun had been self-coached for years.
Yeah.
And I think he really missed doing the club sessions. He didn't do the bread and butter of his week, and he just stopped all forms of group training. He was following this plan to the letter, and I don't think Dan's obviously a great coach, but I don't think Shaun ever sort of fully bought into it. And
yeah, that's the thing. And the thing as well, like it doesn't have. The other thing I've learned is I don't think there's not like and this is the best training to do. I think a lot of it is like mentality. If you buy into it and you can hit the right spots, and you're like when you need to push, you push. And I think unless a coach is there with you 100% of the time, it's hard for them to go, oh, did you get, you're always going to have feedback, but did you have a good night's sleep last night? Are you knackered because you had to work 3 hours late? I think there's so much that is involved in life that if you can quite coach yourself relatively well, I think you just know what you're going through yourself.
Yeah.
Like if you feel knackered, I can just go, oh, I'll do the session tomorrow. Or if I'm feeling a bit ill or something, you can always tweak things. And obviously a coach, if you give them 100% of the information, would probably say the same thing. But then you also feel like, especially if you're paying a coach, he's told me to do that. Yeah. I don't want to sound like I'm weak by telling him I'm ill. I'll just do it. And then you don't do it as well. And then, I have absolutely no problems with coaching, like absolutely not. But I just think for me, I think I've been doing it for so long now that I would struggle to just sit back and go on then, tell me what to do. I love sort of like planning it out and seeing like what did I do last year.
I know he's not here, is it, to speak for himself, but he would say similar, I think, wouldn't he?
And he was saying that he had to use training peaks, and he said if he was down for 50 minutes he'd want to hit the green
so it's the red.
So he said he couldn't do 49 minutes, it had to be 50 minutes.
Whereas normally when he's doing it himself he's more flexible, and he'll move things around. He loves self-coaching really, doesn't he?
And don't get me wrong, like I said, I know a lot of people don't feel comfortable with it, or like say prefer like having that accountability. I don't struggle with that at all. Like if I know I need to be doing this, that or the other, there's never a day, my colleagues all don't understand this, but they're like, do you never just think like, can't be bothered today? I never ever think that, ever. So I don't struggle for motivation, or like I don't need the accountability necessarily, where I know for a lot of people who've got loads of stuff going on in their lives, there's so much value in having a good coach. But I think I've just been doing it so long. But like I said, I had a lot of success. Going back to what I was saying before, I was saying I wasn't personally coached by them, but if I'd have asked, they would have, I was following what they were telling the group to do. So I've obviously seen massive value in that, and everywhere I did go, the American system, Kenya, like you see all these amazing coaches, and I just sort of picked up bits on what they know, and then I take that with sort of like how I feel, and somewhere in between is what I end up doing training wise. But I've thought about it loads of times, especially when I did step up to doing a marathon. I know you sent me some stuff about what you'd done. I'd spoke to people, so I don't just completely do it on my own. I've asked for people's thoughts and stuff in the past. And
you watch videos.
There's so much online, isn't there, that you can just and I just enjoy doing it, and then I can sort of take what I've done. Right, let's extend that, or do that a bit quicker, or let's shorten that recovery and do this. Trying different things. So I use a lot of what's available. But I
guess the big thing now with Strava is there's almost too much information available, because you see that many people's training, and sometimes what some people are doing isn't necessarily the best thing to do. But equally, you can learn. You say you've learned a lot of best practice. You can see things you think, I'm not really sure why you're doing I'm not really sure why you're doing that, and your results are reflecting it. So you can sort of
Strava 100% is like it's brilliant, isn't it? Like I'm sure, like everyone who uses it loves Strava, but sometimes too much information can be a problem. You try and copy what everyone's doing, and you end up doing nothing. You know what I mean? Like, the amount of people I've seen over the years. A good mate of ours, he's not a runner anymore, but Matt Sheen.
Oh yeah.
This kid, he's like amazing junior. Like, he's really talented sport. Like, he played football for the Liverpool or someone. He'd come down. He got an English schools medal first year of like running for our club, and he just became obsessed with his watch and his Strava. And he read an article on Mo Farah runs at 6 minute miling. So he'd go and run at 6 minute miling every day. He'd read an article that the Kenyan professional runners run 120 miles a week. This 15-year-old kid was going out and running 6 minute miling 120 miles a week. And you're just like, oh no! Like, you've got to use the information, but then also relate it to you.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you end up
in a hole.
Like 18 stone.
Yeah.
So being self-coached, what does your typical like peak training week look like for you, and how do you structure your blocks, making sure that you're hitting the right sort of paces for everything from the 1500 to the marathon?
So now, where it's predominantly more marathon, well, I mean, to be fair, my week would be structured more or less the same, from sort of however many years ago when I was doing more like 15 3Ks to now. I do session on Tuesday, session of sorts on Friday, long run, which is sometimes a session and a long run on a Sunday, and then just easy run in between. Years ago, like I said, when it was shorter distances, there would normally be, I sort of normally do it over like a sort of a 2 week sort of cycle, where if you have the 4 sessions, I'd normally do 2 of them and more like VO2 max sort of things. Obviously that's usually on a Tuesday because I go down to the club, and it's pretty staple stuff that you do on a Tuesday night, and I can extend it. I can run the same pace as everyone else, and it doesn't really matter. Then the Fridays, it used to be more like I'd do 10k half marathon sort of session, and then the following week I'd do more like a 3k 5k session and rotate every couple of weeks. Now that I'm doing more longer distances, it's the same structure, but again I'll do the VO2 not VO2 max, I'm threshold. I don't do any VO2 max training anymore. Threshold is what I meant. Now I do that on the Tuesday, but I've started the last sort of cycle, I've started doing like the double thresholds, like clang of a buzzword there. But like, obviously again, I've seen people doing it, it seems to work. I think if you can do it correctly, it would work. Again, you see loads of people doing that wrong, in my opinion. But I do that on a Tuesday. So a normal training week now, if I'm peak marathon sort of trainer, I do a couple of runs on a Monday, so maybe like a 9 or a 10 and then a 4 or a 5. Tuesday I do a session in the morning, session in the evening, so that's going to be something like, I don't know, 3 by 10 minutes sort of tempo effort in the morning, which usually ends up sort of loosely marathon sort of pace. Evening would be go down to the track and I'd do whatever they're doing, so it'd be normally again something like 10 by a K, but I'll build up to that. I'm not just straight off the bat into a training cycle doing that. Wednesday I do like a medium long run, some 14-15. Thursday double again, same as Monday, 10 and a 5-ish. Friday would then be sort of still doing that 2 week cycle thing. I'd do like a 10k half marathon session 1 week and then a marathon session the other week. So that would be again something like, as the sort of block goes on, it would progress, but peak training it'd be something like, I don't know, 10 by a mile 1 week, which would be more like half marathon sort of effort, trying to get a bit faster towards the end ish, versus the other week the marathon session get up to doing maybe 18 miles ish like marathon volume, so that would be something like 6 by 3 miles, 5 miles, 4 miles, 3 miles, 2 miles, whatever, but that adds up to about 18. Just look at my watch, have I done enough yet?
Have I done enough yet?
Yeah.
I actually dabbled like in the last block with doing like a double marathon session. So again, I've seen is it Canova, that Italian coach? Yeah. So I've seen him do this in the past, where people were doing like a marathon amount of volume in one day. So I've never got up to doing that much, but last training block I did 2 by 5 miles in the morning at marathon like effort. If it's hammering it down, it's dead windy, obviously I'm going to run significantly slower, but that sort of effort. Then in the evening,
so when you say effort, then that's more off your heart rate, so you wouldn't be looking at pace or just feel right. Tempo, like feel really. And then in the evening, I think I did 2 by 5 miles in the morning, and I think I did 10 by a mile in the evening. And the thought of doing like the mile reps in the evening, because I would normally, a marathon session, I would normally do bigger blocks, like 3, 4, 5 miles. Yeah. But in my marathon before that, I went off a bit quicker, and I think the pounding on my legs were running that little bit quicker.
like I was absolutely ruined. My quads were done. I was getting cramps in my calves, my quads. So I think the idea behind that was, rather than I could have done 20 miles volume in a different way, but I wanted to do the miles because I knew I could probably hit marathon pace, whereas I very rarely hit marathon pace when I'm doing a marathon session. But I knew if I was doing mile reps, I could do that, have a minute off, and I'd be fine. So I just wanted to make sure after 20 miles of, and obviously with a warm up and warm down, jogging between reps, I've probably done, by the end of that session, I've probably done the best part of 30 miles that day. But I wanted to be running at my marathon pace. And a lot of people do that week in, week out, but I don't. So I was keen to do that on a couple of the sessions.
You were keen to do that?
Oh, dead keen, yeah.
Oh my God.
25 miles. Do you remember as well? This was I did it before Valencia once, so that would have been in like November sort of time, and I did it before London. And before London, the build up to the build up to it was quite nice weather wise. And this happened exactly the same in Valencia. I've put it in the training plan that I've written. Like, that's the day I'm going to do the massive session. It was probably 3 weeks before the marathon. That's the day I'm going to do my big double marathon session. Obviously, that's the day when it's like 40 mile an hour winds. It was absolutely hammering it down. That London one, honestly, the Valencia one, it was horrific. So I was definitely not keen that day. I did the first one. I think on that one I did a 9 mile tempo in the morning, and I wore half tights, but I wore tights to warm up, and I never took the tights off. I wore a base layer, 2 t-shirts and a jacket, and I did the whole session dressed like that, and I was still freezing. God. And that's how bad the day was. So so keen is probably not the right word, but determined was more like it.
Just on your training, I didn't include this in the questions, but one feature I've noticed on your Strava is you're very time efficient. So you do a lot of your running commuting to and from work. So you seem to park somewhere within striking distance of work and then use that to run.
Exactly.
Very smart.
So Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays, when I work Saturdays, I will literally park. So I live like near Warrington, so I'll drive to somewhere south of Manchester, and then usually get the tram in or run in, go to the gym for a shower, go to work, and then run back rather than getting the tram. So it's because it does, like, if you're doing, I didn't finish the sort of week, Saturday I'd do 10, 11 miles, Sunday I'd get up to 25 miles, sometimes incorporating a session in that. It's a lot of time it takes in the week, so where I can, I try and, like, if it'll take me 50 minutes to get home, but if I do an hour run to my car and then a 20-minute drive, I'd only go home and do the run anyway. So it just it's and also takes the decision out of my hands. Like when people do say, "Oh, do you fancy just packing it in and not bothering today?" Well, I've got to get home, haven't I? So I haven't got a choice. So yeah, I try and do that. I think it would literally take my entire. I'd be waking up, running, work, running, sleep. I mean, it feels like I'm doing that anyway sometimes. But
what's your peak mileage then?
My peak for last block, which is my peak weeks ever, was about 122 miles. I think I did 9 weeks. I think I did 9 weeks averaging about 108 before London.
Wow.
Yeah. I know it sounds like a lot, but honestly, when I'm in it, like, it genuinely just feels like.
So you feel like Shaun,
just jumped.
Like Shaun loves it,
yeah,
like he sounds just like him, doesn't he? We're all like, oh my God, how do you fit that in, Shaun?
It feels like the same as when I used to do, like when I was training more for like 5k, I used to probably do 70 to 80, and I used to think, how on earth do people run more than 100 miles a week? I think when you do twice a day, I mean, believe it or not, running twice a day, it all starts adding up, doesn't it? But like doing the 25 miles on a Sunday, I'd probably end up doing 25 miles on some Fridays, probably do 22 miles most Tuesdays, 15 miles every other day. It adds up.
Yeah, certainly does.
Did you ever do mileage that high, Dave?
Yeah,
of course he
probably
did.
higher.
Yeah.
But probably not as much quality as Chris.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot more easy miles in there, but I went as high as 140. This was my biggest.
God. Would you go higher than what you've done, or would you say that's like your sweet spot?
Yeah, I'd probably not, to be honest. If it was more, it'd be by like the odd 1 or 2, because the odd session is slightly longer. I don't think. I already double, like a peak week, I double Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, sometimes Friday, probably 4 or 5 times a week. Sunday I'm never going to do a double. Wednesdays probably not. So realistically it'd just be like the odd run, maybe a mile or so longer, maybe the odd session. Probably not, I think 120, 125 is probably, is about as much as I
It's a lot when if you're working full time.
Yeah.
Trying to have a bit of a life in between.
Yeah. I think that's I can see why some people would do a little bit more. Like if it is a lot of easy miles. To be honest, I think the more generally is like a philosophy. I think the more easy miles you can cram into a week, like up to a point, the better.
Yeah.
But I think the difference between doing that and doing squeezing in 130 or whatever, I think would have very marginal. Well, people say marginal gains are still gains.
Marginal gains are still gains.
But adding an extra little mile on here and there is probably not good. I remember Josh Gorecki. I remember he went to uni in America. And he's like, I'm doing 105 miles a week now. And I said, what have you changed? And he goes, I'll do an extra double day. And instead of doing 2 mile warm up and cool down, I do a 3 mile warm up and cool down. I was like, that's not like, it's like, really, is that like you're just doing it to say that you're doing 105 miles a week? Yeah. So things like that, like I'm never going to do that. A warm up is a warm up, isn't it? And like a recovery run, 5 miles is probably as much as I'll need to do.
Yeah.
And then,
But you're doing it all for quality, not just for the sake of hitting a mileage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's what I was going to say, because we've spoken a lot about how many miles you're doing, but you are just looking at getting the quality in. And it's the fact that the quality that you're putting in is equating to that mileage.
And quality definitely on the session days. Like on my other days, like that's not quality. Like I'm just literally jogging. I just literally don't look. Yeah, literally, I don't look at my watch.
Yeah.
Just running. Like I said, I run to my car wherever that's parked on the day. I'll do the miles or I'll do the time on my feet, but I do not care how fast I run. I know a lot of people hit a certain pace or whatever. Like I don't care at all. The quality is on the Tuesdays, Fridays, Sundays sometimes. I say sometimes. There's usually a focus on the Sunday, but then I'll aim for like this is how fast I'll run. But the other days it's just running, just run. Yeah.
So one last question from me, and this is around your 10k. So Dave tells us that your 29:17 10k was quite a big improvement at the time.
Yeah.
Can you talk us through that?
To be honest, it was probably just like a reflection of like a couple of years of good training. Like my PB probably was maybe no, it wouldn't. It would have been 29:50ish.
Yeah.
That would have been podium. Do you remember they did that 10k podium? Must have been lockdown somewhere.
Yeah.
So I'd not really raced many competitive 10ks before then. So that was like I'd sort of done that and I thought, God, that was really good. The 10k that I ran a big PB was on the track, and I'd never done a track one before. And I sort of went into it. It was, when would that have been? That would have been May. So it was the Highgate thing. So that's May, isn't it? End of April, May. So I'd come off it having had like a year of like just general training, and that would have been my first certainly my first track race of the year, but my first race for a little while. So it's probably just months and months of cumulative training. I knew I could run faster than the 29:50ish, 29:48, or I can't remember what it was exactly. I knew I could run faster than that, but I was thinking, it's on a track. A lot of people really underperform on 10k track 10ks. So I was sort of a bit like, I need to play it a bit safe, but I treated it as a race, to be honest. I was in like that Highgate, like the domestic, well, they called it the domestic race, but there's loads of people from like Greece and Italy and all sorts, so it wasn't very domestic at all. But it was like the B race, and I sort of just thought, I'm just going to race it. I went off at the very back, just was ticking off sort of like 72, 71, so I was looking at sort of running, at the time I was thinking anything between 29, 40 and 30 would be okay. So I sort of sat at the back, picked people off, got to about a mile to go, and I could see like the front of the group, and I'd overtaken loads of people at this point. People just kept dropping off. I thought I could win this. So then that gives you that extra something of like, you always find another gear if you think you're going to be competitive in a race. Anyway, I thought I'd won the race. I don't know if you remember this.
I do remember this. It's one of the reasons I included this. Because I don't know if you've seen the coverage of Highgate, but there's a massive tunnel which has got a crowd in it. So you run through this it's like almost like a gazebo on the back straight.
Is this the 10k PB?
Yeah.
So this is the race he was in.
So I'd never done it before. You go there and you can. You must. Have you done it?
I've done it. Yeah.
Have you done it before? You've been to watch it. No. So in the middle of the track, there is like a climbing wall, a beer garden, like. There's like a couple of elite athlete proper gazebos. There's a beer tent covering the back straight. No, the home straight. Another one covering the back straight. So there's a lot going on. It's a really amazing race to be a part of. I'd never done it before, and I had sort of like, you can only see sort of like, if I'm running, obviously turning left around the track, you can see your group, but you can't listen to the commentary. There's too much going on, and because I was at the back, I wasn't concerned about what was going on at the front. Anyway, little did I know that some German lad was like 80 metres clear of everyone. I had no idea he was there.
And you thought you'd
So I'm thinking that I can get to the front of the group here. That's how I worded it before, if you noticed. I thought I can win out of my group. So I was overtaking people. I got to the bell and there was me and that Thomas lad from Brighton.
Yeah.
And I thought it's me against him. I went flying past him, come onto the home straight, kicked, and I can't remember I give it like a fat hands up or like pump the air or something as I crossed the line, and they do a thing like you win your body weight in beer or something at the end.
Yeah.
I don't like beer, but anyway, I went up to this girl at the end and I say, where do I go for my prize? And she's like, oh, did you win? I said, yeah. And she probably said, no, you didn't, mate. Anyway, I was waiting for like the announcement, and then I got back to the tent and my brother had texted me saying, you should have gone earlier and you could have beat that lad or something. I was like, what's he talking about? Anyway, literally about half an hour later, I realised, having told 25-30 people at that point that I'd won, and then I realised, oh god, he beat me by about 20 seconds. The guy was so far ahead I couldn't even see him. So there you go, that was a good experience. But I think it wasn't like I'd changed something drastic. I think it was more like accumulation of the whole year of training.
And you didn't want that beer anyway, did you?
Exactly. Went to Germany. He was bound to have loved the beer, wasn't he? So it would have been wasted on me.
Dave proper stitched you up there, hadn't he?
Yeah, that's not my finest moment. One of my finest moments racing wise, but
it's a funny story to tell.
Yeah, got some good pictures of the fireworks going off on me. I just pretended I was pumping for a PB, but really I thought,
I bet.
Muppet.
That's all my questions. I'll pass over to Katie for everything Project 3.
Oh yeah.
Favourite topic?
Not yet. Okay, so we've touched on the marathon, but you took the plunge into marathon a few years ago, always thinking that you were too young for it. Mm-hmm. So finally realising at 33 that you were very much not too young. Yeah. So why does that myth that you have to wait until your mid-30s to run a marathon still persist in the UK running scene, do you think?
I don't know. I think it was always like there was like the trodden path of you did the track, you did the cross country, then you did the 5k. I mean, to be honest, again, when I was sort of growing up and like when I was at uni and stuff, not really that many people even did a 5k, 10k road races. It just wasn't really much of a scene. So it took me a while to get up to that, and I think you always sort of think, oh, you've got to do a 5k before you can do a 10k. You've got to do a 10k before you do a half. So I just used to put it off. I also had this thing in my head that like once you've done a marathon, you just turn into this like cart horse, and you can't run faster than like marathon pace for anything.
It is an older person's marathon, don't it? It is one of those
so I think I had it in my head like once I went and did a marathon, that was it. I could never step foot on a track before. My knees were going to go. I'd never be able to do a stride ever again. So I think I just kept putting it off, and it was like until I got to probably 3 years ago, 33, and I probably looked at it and thought, God, I'm definitely not too young to do anything anymore. Like I very much need to do a marathon. I'd done a couple of halves at that point. Again, nothing really seriously. I'd never trained really to attack a half marathon sort of PB.
But did Valencia. You went into Valencia.
Did Valencia. I thought if I'm going to do one, I need to make it as easy as possible. I'm going to go to the flattest place on earth and do the fastest marathon I can find. I needed all the help I could get. So yeah, I'd aimed for that one, and I did like probably a track season. I'm guessing that summer, had a week or two off, and then thought, right, let's get into it this year. So I had the whole sort of like autumn aiming for that at the start of December, without really knowing like how fast I can do. I could say, well, I've run this for 10k, I've done this for a half, double this, add a few minutes on, do a bit of algebra, and try and guess what I'm going to run.
It
is like I literally had no idea really. So I used to just look at people like, if he's done that and I'm maybe slower than him over 10k, but I just sort of finger in the air, see what I could get. But I was sort of briefly sort of mentioned before, I don't really train to like, I'm never like set on the pace. I'd never go, right, I'm going to run this for a marathon, so I need to do all my training at this pace. I just sort of just did what I thought was marathon training. Did you have a goal then going into Valencia? Loosely. Right. I think I was 8. I think at the time I thought 2:17 was just like, it's not even a round number, is it? I just thought 2:17 I'm going to aim for. So I think I was. Is that because I'd run 2:18? okay. What's he run, right? I just aim for a bit quicker than that. I think it was just a loose target, or maybe it was 2:18, and I thought if I sped up second half, if I feel good. I think it was like a not conservative. I didn't think I was way better than that by any stretch of the imagination. I just thought, look, it's my first marathon. If it doesn't go to plan, maybe I won't run that. But I thought it should feel comfortable enough. So yeah, I did the training, not like I said, not targeting that specifically, but I knew that was about this pack. I don't even know what it is, maybe 5, just under 5:20 pace, I guess.
Yeah.
I can't really remember, but I sort of did a lot of my tempo sessions when I was doing 10k train, half marathon training was about that sort of pace.
Right.
I figured if I do a bit more marathon training, I can probably hold that for a couple of hours and then sort of hope I can.
And how did it go?
It went well. I did go off at that sort of pace. The advantage of being at that level as well, like especially at Valencia, you have a women's group that has like 5 pacemakers, and then they have a women's B group.
Right.
So it was quite handy that I could just go, oh look, the women's elite group is aiming for, I think they were aiming for a bit faster, but they ended up going a bit slower, which just worked perfectly. Yeah. So I did sort of sit with a pace group for 15, 16 miles, and then I was still scared, even, you feel great, I'd never done it before, got to 20 and I was thinking, there's this wall.
This is the wall. Everyone says,
I feel good, but I can't pick it up yet because there's a wall. And just to be honest, it never came. I probably, looking at it now, probably was at the ability and the shoes and everything where like you do get a bit more give from your legs. So I mean, I wouldn't do anything different. It gave me a good experience. Then I was like, right, I'm going to do another one and another one.
What did you finish in then in Valencia?
I think I did 2:16:30, something like that.
Yeah, right.
So I was genuine. I was really happy with that.
Quite comfortable.
Where was that wall?
Yep, didn't see the wall, fortunately. So it left me with a really positive experience. I know loads of people. Like I mentioned Stu Doyle earlier. His son, he's a lot younger than me, but he's a very good runner. He has done a few marathons now where he massively underperformed because he did it without necessarily focusing his whole energy on it. So like his training wasn't optimal. He'd aimed for a certain time. He died. He had this awful experience. He then does another one. The same thing happens. So then like maybe in the back of your head, maybe I'm not built for a marathon. And then he just didn't have a good experience. And there's millions of people like that. So I think I was really happy that like I was over the moon with my time. Like I said, I was probably better than I was kind of hoping for. But also the way it happened, I was like motivated to go and do it again, and I can go faster. And I really enjoyed. Like it is like a marathon. It is like it's not fun, but it is fun at the same time. Like
it's nothing.
And I had a good exactly. I did have
I
had that amazing experience. So. Yeah.
And then in April, just gone, you clocked a massive 2:13:41 at London. So how did that feel, seeing the clock?
That was quite fun. Again, I was having done a few at that point, and I sort of loosely knew what I could aim for.
So how many marathons had you done then?
I'd done 3, but it was only Valencia. I'd done Valencia 3 years in a row, and I'd always intended to do London, but I'd do Valencia, then I'd have a couple of weeks off, then get into a training, I'd get injured, and then it's like between Valencia and London, you've got to just get straight into it, and it just never happened. So I've done that 3 times, aimed for London. I was like unsure on the course, having never done it before. Is it going to be loads slower? But also like my times had got slightly gradually better until last year's Valencia. I was really, really ill the day before it, so I still ran well. But I was also thinking, right, if I can run that when I'm not well, then at London I should be able to run this. And then the time I thought went out the window because the half and pacing was all over the place. We went through way slower than we were supposed to, so I sort of then completely sort of like disregarded the time, and then it went back to I was in a pack of probably 20 people at halfway, which we'll come on to in a minute. A lot of them was the Project 3 group, so I sort of thought we've gone through, I think we went through about 50 seconds slower than we'd asked to, so I sort of thought, PB's out the window probably. I'm just going to race, and we'll just these lads here. There's always going to be someone who's wanting to pull when you've got a group that big. So we just sort of took it in turns. When someone was feeling good, they'd push it on for a bit, and then ended up somehow. I think because there was a tailwind like that last sort of 5 or 6 miles. The fact that we were racing it and we'd gone through slower, we still had something in our legs again, so it didn't hit the wall. Had the tailwind.
That wall.
I haven't met the wall yet, fortunately. But it became a race. The time went out the window, and then I was looking at my watch because I sort of, when I do a marathon, I manually split every 5k, so it doesn't really rely on GPS. When I go through the big barrier that says 25-30k, I'll split my watch manually, and I did the 40k. I split it, and I was like, Jesus, that is quicker than I thought it was going to be. This obviously with the tailwind. So then I started thinking, hang on, I'm actually on for a PB. And I was also, like I said, racing these other guys on this Puma thing. So I was glancing over. I could see them like eyes on me on that embankment where it's just you can see for bloody miles and miles. So then that motivation, I was, hang on, I can run a PB. Hang on, I can beat these guys. Then obviously crossing that line was quite a good feeling.
And just touching on that then, because Dave says that he told us that's one of your kind of strongest assets around that pace adjustment, like at the end running faster. So is that, how do you do that? I know you just said that the wind helped.
It did. I think all of my times have come, like PBs have come when I have run like that.
Yeah.
I think it's probably the best way to do it. Like if you can run that way, I think, unless you're running exactly to the second even splits, I think that is the way over the longer distance you are going to run your best times. I think it's just a case, like, I don't know, I think there is also an element where I'm like, not doubting myself, but a bit of like, scared of like, if I go off too fast, I'm going to hit the wall.
A bit.
Yeah, I think I always think if I can run right, if I'm aiming for this time, rather than like a lot of people go, I'll go off a bit quicker and bank a few.
Just bank it, never
and then I've never like
It
I couldn't tell you the last time I've done that. Like I would always go off a bit slower and aim to run a bit faster.
Yeah.
And obviously being in that sort of racing element to it, where I'm competing rather than just aiming for a time, you always manage to find something. So that London definitely helped on that front. The Valencia ones, you're not racing there; it's literally just a time trial. Everyone's just flat out running a straight line. But I, all of my times, really, my best times have come from being in that competitive racing environment where I can pick it up at the end.
How did you find London compared to Valencia then?
The course was way quicker than I thought it was going to be. I think I had it in my head that it was hilly.
Yeah.
Like, it's not at all, is it?
There's
a few rises, which in Valencia there just isn't. Like it is literally flat.
Right.
It's definitely a faster first half at London if you disregard any
like
following.
A bit downhill, isn't it?
It's a little bit downhill.
Yeah.
So London was.
And if you're out the front like you are, I think the rest of us who are a bit further back, it gets busier and busier, and the course is.
Yeah. I think the crowd is probably second to none. Yeah, like Valencia, the crowd is amazing, and obviously that was my only experience up until recently. And the crowd is genuinely amazing.
Insane
and then London was just like next level, so that is brilliant. From like my standard sort of experience at Valencia, my standard gets you into like the start area.
Yeah,
you don't get any like elite athlete sort of inverted commas treatment, whereas at London, because it's obviously a domestic race, they really look after you. Like, so you get put up in a hotel, you get ferried to the start of the race, you get this little warm up area. They like, I've never been a part of anything like that. Really.
Put your own drinks out as well, can't you?
So I've never done that before.
Take advantage of that.
Did you?
It's like I've never done that before. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing again. But
did you put drinks out?
Yeah. Put little red, white and black Man United tape around it all. And to be honest, I used the bottles to store my gels really, so that I didn't have to carry them, because obviously that's the only other option.
Very clever that.
So I just taped them to it, and then I had a bit of like Morton mix, but I didn't want to have too much of that to risk stitches or whatever. So I had a little bit of fluid, stuck my gels to the bottles. Yeah, it worked really well.
And how many gels? Just out of interest, how do you fuel those marathons then? How many like gels do you have? And
I have the Morton big ones. Am I allowed to say that here?
Yeah.
I can bleep that out. I used the Morton 160s, which is like the big ones. So I'd have one at the start, like as in before a start.
Yeah.
One at 10k, one at 20k, one at 30k.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that is in grams. It works out to I think 80 to 90 grams per hour.
Right.
And then, because I'd done that at Valencia and I'd known, like I said, I'd only had good experiences, I thought fueling wise, I think I'm fine with that. But then with the bottles, I wanted to weigh them down because I didn't want them to blow away in the wind, and I get there and I've got no gels. So I did put Morton mix in it. So I had probably whatever the gels is plus, I don't know, 50 ml, 100 ml per bottle. I was just sort of swigging it until I felt like my stomach had something in it. Yeah. So hard to say exactly, but probably 90, whatever it is.
That seems to work for you. Yeah. Did you find your bottles all right and stuff?
Honestly, the way they do it is so good.
Is it?
Yeah, so they split you into like, so there's like each section has like 4 tables stuck together. So you're like section 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5.
Right.
And then on that section you have your own table. And they do it so like they know on the start list, right, we've got these 30, 40 like people in the elite section. So on my table or on my section there was like, they pick one from like the top group, so there'd be like Kajelcha, his bottle would be on there. Then they'd have someone who they'd expect to run about 204.
Right.
Then someone who they'd expect to run about 207.
Right.
So when I got to it, I was the slowest on my table, so all of them were gone. So every single drink station, it's just 4 tables and my drink there. Like it was so easy. Like I was so scared. Like I took a couple of spare gels. What's going to happen? Someone's going to knock my bottle over. But realistically, if someone knocked my bottle over, there'd be about 5 minutes before I actually came to get my bottle, so someone would just put it back on there. So it worked really well, It's quite a cool experience,
That is
and then just slinging them to the side, you feel like someone off
proper,
TV. It was a great experience. Like the London, just the race, I went mad, like was absolutely incredible. But that whole sort of elite thing, you go to like the pre-meeting and you sat next to like Kit Limo and Chepta guy, and that was like. Yeah.
And on top of that, obviously, you were part of Project 3 as well.
The best part of it all, of course.
I've not stopped talking about it, but for anyone who hasn't listened, tell us a bit about what the Puma Project 3 programme was.
Yeah, so it's like this relatively new initiative, isn't it, where it's not a sponsorship as such, but they're putting a lot of money and funding into that sub-elite category, so men sub-3, women sub-3:15.
Yeah.
So if you've run under those times, you can apply. It was only London and Boston up until recently, and now they're doing it in the autumn marathons as well. I think it's Chicago and Berlin this year. So you can basically apply, do a little bio about yourself, why the support would help you. I think they pick 100 per marathon, like loosely 50 blokes, 50 girls. You get like all the marathon race kit, plus also the race kit to train in, so you get I don't know what, 4 or 5 pairs of shoes, all the race kit. They have like this thing with Morton as well, which I took that anyway from Valencia, so that was handy, where you get the nutrition side of things. But there was like seminars, going on like these Zoom calls with all these professional athletes and nutritionists and God knows what else, and like just picking up again anything that you would never have access to, like a sports psychologist and people who were like. Paddy Deeve was on it, Rory Linkletter, pro runners. Then Lenny Waite, went to the Olympic Steeple Chase. She's now a psychologist. So all these different sort of elements of sport that only normally your funded top level athletes would ever get access to. So that was really interesting. The kits obviously are massively helpful, and obviously if you can win some money.
Absolutely, yeah. So tell us. So the money is you can win $3,000, can't you, if you break your PB by 3 minutes? You get another $3,000 if you're the fastest in the group overall. Yeah,
and $3,000 if you're the person who breaks your PB by the biggest margin.
You can win $9,000.
You can.
Essentially, can't you?
So I was fortunate enough to get the $3,000 for first finisher. So that's like when I was saying I was racing the Puma people, I knew at that sort of 15, 16 mile mark that these are the guys who were all fighting out for the $3,000. None of us were going to break our PB by 3 minutes, but we all wanted that money.
Yeah.
So that motivated me massively.
Yeah. Did you wear the Puma? Did you?
Yeah, but I got a different one.
Oh, I thought yours was different. When I've seen your pictures, I thought is that one the right?
I think the reason was that I think London has like a limit on the number of people who can wear the same kit in the elite field. Because I think they don't want. Like if you had like 8 Kenyans all wearing the same night kit for the general
public. Look at the guys who were like pushing for the top Brit. There was Paddy Deaver and Jack Rowe.
Yeah,
I think they were both 2.6, were they?
Yeah,
and they were in that they were both in the Project 3 kit.
So you did have a nice coloured one, wasn't it? It was like.
So I've got that as well. But then they sent me the whatever it's like a bluey, greyy, whitey sort of thing. Yeah. And they didn't give me a different pair of shoes, so I was a bit cheeky and I said, my shoes don't match my kit. Can I have another pair? So they gave me a pair of blue ones, so they matched quite nicely.
Weren't they anything like they would send?
Yeah, they were absolutely. And even on the day, so when you went to pick up the kit, like my girlfriend's sister was doing it. She lives in America though, so she couldn't get there in time to get her stuff. So I literally went down and I said, "Can I get a bag for another person?" They were like, "How can you sort of prove?" So I showed them a text. They're like, "Oh, if it's easy for her, if you're not going to be able to get it to her now, just come to the post-event after party and she can get all of her stuff." And they were just chucking loads of extra stuff in there.
Yeah, they were like putting loads of. I went and said, "Oh, these socks, I've got men's." They were like, "Oh, what size are you?" And then just brought me loads, like filling up my bag.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Socks. Yep, so did quite well out of that.
Yeah.
Must have got over £1,000 worth of kit or something.
Yeah, so what shoes did you race in? Did you race in the Fast Arts?
Yeah. So training wise, I'd never worn Puma before. Loads of people at the club would come down and they're always wearing it on Tuesday and swear by it. Yeah. And I sort of just always wore Nike. And I think it's that thing as well, like if I've worn them for a race and it's gone well, I'm not changing it, because if I change it and it goes badly, that's obviously going to be the reason. So I wasn't risking that until you start getting free stuff, and I'll change now. So I trained a lot of it, probably the first maybe 6, 7, 8 weeks in the DV8.
I raced in them because I was a bit scared of trying.
Yeah, that's exactly why I was thought, well, these are the marathon shoes. That's what I'm going to wear, and they were like, to be honest, they're great. Yeah. They don't feel like as different though, do they? They feel like they feel great and very efficient. Yeah. And you sort of have that energy, sort of efficiency from them. But yeah, they put the R3s on. You're like, what on earth are these?
Yeah.
And a lot of people, like, I looked into like what the Puma pros were doing, and a lot of them still did the marathon in the R3s. So I thought, maybe I should give it a go. So I did Wilmslow half, which would have been, I don't know, 6 or 7 weeks, five weeks maybe before London, and I thought I'll give them a try there half. Let's see how I feel. And it was probably more I hadn't done that much training at that point. My calves were a bit twingy.
Yeah.
I thought,
that's what
is
put
it
me
the
off
shoes?
the athletes. I struggle with my calves. Yeah.
So I thought I'll give it a few weeks of like training in these on the longer sessions. So I used the Deviate still for a few weeks, and then when I did like I said, that massive training day, like 3 weeks before, I did all of the marathon stuff in the fast R3s.
Yeah.
And it was fine. And I thought, these are sort of aggressive enough. I feel like I can get a real advantage from these.
They do feel different, don't they? Definitely do feel like a race.
And I thought because I hadn't done that much training in them as well, you still get that sort of race day, like
kick,
pop.
like,
exactly. So I did it in them, and went
so
absolutely fine.
And has it worked in terms of, like, I'm obsessed with Puma now, it is all aware. Has it like worked?
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. Well, another thing on, if you were the first or second finisher, you get like a bit of a kit deal from them.
Oh, really?
So I've got, since the race, they've sent me
yes,
boxes and boxes of stuff. To be honest, before, so I got one probably on Monday, like a big thing full of like kit and shoes and stuff. But before that, I think I'd only got maybe, if you've seen the new ones, I should really know what they're called. The Pures, those new ones.
Deviate
Pures, yeah. So they sent me a pair of them. And they are like, they're so nice. But that was it, because I knew that part of this thing was if I finished in the first 2, I'd get this.
I forgot. I remember reading that. Yeah,
and I couldn't find it. I couldn't find any evidence of this, so I sent the guys who were organising. I sent them an email and just said, like, I'm not being rude here. Like, trying to like, where's my stuff?
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm sure I remember seeing that you get like some kit, and he says, so basically we do it when the proper elite athletes get their like rotations.
Yeah.
So I got the Pures when they came out, and then on Monday or something I got this massive box of kit, 3 more pairs of shoes, another couple of pairs of racers, and like the kit is just like kit's kit, isn't it? It looks nice, it's just kit, isn't it? Like, it doesn't need to be particularly performance based, but like the shoes I think are so good.
I do,
and I'm not just saying
this.
I'm not contractually obliged to say this. They are just amazing.
The Deviate Pures are getting such good reviews everywhere at the moment. A lot of people have like hyped the Adidas Evo SLs for so long, and they're a very similar shoe, but possibly a little bit wider, which a lot of people look for, and just a bit smoother to run, I think. So definitely hit the spot for a lot of runners.
They've really come back on the scene, like, again, when I was 23, 24, 25, Puma as a running brand wasn't a thing.
They were a bit naff. My kids are teenagers and they don't get, they're like, oh god, I'm Puma.
Yeah. Because they've made a massive move though. Really like, even like you see like football, and like now they had like Neymar a few years ago, and when you see, because the kit's very similar, I don't know if you see like the World Cup, the people in the Puma kit, it looks like, or the Puma boots, it looks like the shoes that we've had. Yeah. It's quite cool seeing that, and like they're obviously making a massive push into the sort of like the elite sporting world, and obviously in our case like the sub-elite sort of thing. But yeah, the shoes are absolutely incredible. I love them. Yeah.
And you think you can still break that PB from London then?
I think so, as long as I can get back in one piece soon. I haven't done any training for 3 or 4 weeks, but I've had a few injury issues and sort of overcome them over the past few years, so hopefully this one will be no different. But yeah, I think Valencia is probably a faster course, so I still think I've got more room to manoeuvre there.
Yeah.
I think as well, like London, it was wind. Obviously, the wind helped there's a tailwind, but it was very blustery earlier on in your face. So I don't think it was optimal.
No.
Having said that, 3 guys broke the world record.
Absolutely.
So it must have been quite good conditions.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think on a different course, again, just a couple more years. I know I'm getting a bit older, but I think there's still enough time before I start slowing down naturally that I can still get better. So I do think I can run a bit quicker over the marathon. Yeah. Even maybe the shorter distance, like 5k, I sort of loosely, more last year, there's the V35 record for the 5k on the road is 13:46, I think. Right. And my PB is 13:52. It was a few years ago, but not that many years ago. So I still think if I could get in like a decent race, there was a possibility. If I had a really good summer, I could aim for that. But they've taken, I think the like mid-Cheshire 5k's gone there.
Yeah, because it's
that's like right near where I live, and it's a nice downhill one, so that was always going to be my target. But that's gone out the window now, and there's not that many. It's hard to find that many races. There's a lot of, the good thing obviously off the back of Podium during COVID really is that a lot of races are now round cycle tracks, and they're very, very fast courses. but it's more sort of like finding a field where you can get guys running that fast. It's very hard to run under 14 minutes if you're on your own. So maybe next year, depends how the legs can carry on. But marathon's going to be my focus still.
So it's hard as well. We always say you can't train for everything. There's such a difference in it between the 5k and the marathon. How do you, like say after the marathon you want a bit of time off, and then before you know it you're into another block again.
Exactly. So that was more like my plan this year. It was sort of like London was obviously at the end of April. I had about a week and a half off, and then my intention was to train for 5 and 10k in the summer. Problem is, then when you sort of, if you are aiming for the marathon as your main sort of thing, you then got, well, there's going to be another one in September, October, or Valencia in December. So if the summer doesn't really go to plan, like it hasn't for me, it's sort of like I can't go, I'll train a bit later, push the track season or the road season into August, September, because then it's marathon season. So it's hard trying to find you can't focus on everything. You're never going to run a PB over every distance, so we'll see.
But you've still got goals there.
I have,
Good, fab. Okie dokies, on to Desert Island Run. So I hope you've been thinking.
No, I haven't.
We did warn you this
you
was
did
coming,
warn
didn't we?
me,
So have you forgot about it?
I had.
So, your dream run location, distance and person to run with, and it can be alive or dead.
It'd be a slow run if they were dead, wouldn't it? Right. You're not putting me on the spot because I have had a long time to think about this, but I forgot and I'm now on the spot.
So do you want to get into it? It's just like
I tell you how I'll do it. The nicest place I've ever been for a run. Let's go for that because then I can revisit there. I think the nicest place I've ever been running is probably St Moritz in Switzerland. Like some of the places.
You're going to say Sandbach then?
That'll be a close second. St Moritz, like it's literally, it's almost as if someone has gone, right, let's design a place to go running. It is literally unbelievable. So that would be the place. Distance. Now, before you told me that people say longer distances to really take advantage of that, I was going to say like sort of 10 mile, nice enough to have a nice conversation, but you're not going to be absolutely knackered at the end. So I'll stick with that, although it's a boring answer.
No.
Maybe a marathon. Nice and easy. And who would I run with? I would say... You can edit out the pause here. Just, I think I'd like to someone who's like still really good now. Maybe like Kipchoge or Bekele. Someone like just iconic. Cool, because I feel like they're the sort of people you get the impression they're just nice, and you could just ask them anything about running and they just tell you everything. Or maybe someone like a bit more controversial from like possible like doping sort of scandal sort of person. You could ask them. And, no one's ever going to find out. Tell me all your dirty dark secrets. If I had to say someone, it would probably be either your sort of Bekele's or Kipchoge's, or maybe like the modern your Kip Limos, Cheptegei's, those sorts of guys, just to
nice 10 mile around scenic Switzerland.
Maybe a bit longer now. Actually, think about it. A bit more time. Let's go for a 15 miler.
15 sounds good. Right, okay, quick fire these. So let's see how quick we can be. Don't overthink these.
Are we doing one word answers or is
one
it just
word? So they're quick. So cross country, yes or no?
Stu's listening.
It's got to be a no. If I have to pick, it's a no.
Park run, is it a race or not?
Yeah.
Carbons for park run.
No.
It's a race, but no carbon.
I was going to say, that's completely contradictory, isn't it? I'm going to say it's not a race and no carbons. If I'm about to go one way or the other.
Okay. Running any weather or head to the treadmill?
Almost any weather. I have gone to the treadmill on occasion, but usually it's, get outside.
Stretching or no stretching?
No stretching.
Gym work on Strava, yes or no?
Definitely no. I don't know who I'm offending here, but no. It's a no from me.
Everything goes on Strava. No walk.
To be fair, I've seen a lot of walking from Dave on Strava recently. So
post-run beer or post-run protein shake?
In general, if beer can be changed to a nice Copperberg on a summer's day, it's that. Protein shake is probably more practical, I have to admit.
Stop your watch or not when you stop during a run, so like at traffic lights?
Usually, yeah.
Track races or no track races?
Yeah, track races.
Ice baths and saunas and all that rubbish or not?
Well, for me, no, I don't do any of that. But I think in an ideal world, if I had nothing else to do, I would do them. But practically, no.
You wouldn't have time, but you would
Exactly.
enjoy the
No,
30-mile
would,
weeks.
yeah.
I think if it's one or the other, I'm going for the running. But I do see the advantage of them. Yeah.
Yeah. That's everything. You finished. So, Val, that's really good. And yeah,
Enjoyed that.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming
Yeah,
out.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks for having me.
And hopefully, Project 3 will be at London next year, and
Yes,
hopefully
we'll be
we can
back on it,
apply and we'll be
definitely.
back on it. Yeah,
Definitely.
Fingers crossed.
They've got to invite the defending champion back.
Best friend.
I'll put a good word.
That's it for this episode. I'm going to be taking a summer break now for the next few weeks, so make sure you keep following the podcast and go back to listen to your favourite episodes. Any guest suggestions, message us on Instagram, Facebook or email.